So, this is going to be controversial.
Calm down! Nobody tells me that I don't know controversy! You gotta be kidding me! See what I know!
And here's why it's going to be controversial. Star Wars has a Luke Skywalker problem. What do you mean? So, when the sequel trilogy came out, they basically gave us a version of Luke Skywalker that a lot of people weren't on board with. I wasn't on board with him in any way, shape, or form. Then when The Mandalorian came out, they gave us the version of Luke Skywalker that we always wanted to see, which was the badass Jedi Master version of Luke Skywalker. Book of Boba Fett has went one step further to show that there's kind of a bridge between badass Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and old curmudgeon hiding on Ahsoka Luke Skywalker. Where's the problem coming from? No matter what you do, unless the sequels are decanonized, Luke's arc will always take him in that direction. He can't deviate. He can't go in an opposite direction in any way, shape, or form. He is locked in to essentially the lonely hermit living on an island in the middle of nowhere. That is his fate. That is the destiny of Luke Skywalker. Here's the problem with this. We keep bringing him back. Like, I feel as though we've decided that we actually want to see what Luke is up to, or I should say Lucasfilm has decided that they want to show us what Luke is essentially up to during the time of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. And the more and more they're showing us, the more and more in the back of our mind, we're like, yeah, but he's going to end up drawing his lightsaber on Kylo by accident, and then he's going to end up being a hermit on an island in the middle of nowhere. Here's where Grogu comes in. Grogu is essentially on the path that should have been essentially reserved for Luke Skywalker. And I feel as though it's a path of duality between both Grogu and Ahsoka, where we are going to probably end up seeing a lot of the elements from the EU given to Grogu. And what I mean by that is Grogu as a character, not only does he outlive Luke because of the fact that his species ages extremely slowly, but as a character, he would probably be a young adult or a teenager by the time that Rey and Kylo have essentially parted ways, where Kylo's dead and Rey's now the only Jedi. Grogu would still be alive if they don't kill him, fingers crossed. But Grogu would essentially still be alive and close to a young teenager / adult in Yoda's height, doing his own thing. Because of that, you get to leapfrog, using Grogu, you get to essentially leapfrog over the sequels and establish your canon from there. And I feel like that's the direction that we're going in, where The Mandalorian, and probably if we get a Mandalorian season 4, they're going to put a bow on Din Djarin and Grogu's story. Then the next time we see Grogu, it's going to be a leapfrog over the sequels, bypassing them entirely, where I don't even know if Disney will reference them or want to bring back Rey's character. Even though they've said that they want to do more things with Rey in the future, I really feel as though she's going to be taking a backseat to Grogu in every way, shape, and form, because people are more invested in his development than they are in Rey's future stories down the line. He's your main character from now on. You're essentially seeing the first baby steps, literally, of who Star Wars is going to be revolving around for the most part for probably the next 10-20 years. And it's really going to be interesting. Like, I find it interesting that instead of choosing to decanonize the sequels, they're locked in to the story that was told. It was a bad story. It was a shoddy story. But you've chosen to lock yourselves in. And you really didn't have to in any way, shape, or form. If you wanted to, you could have said that the sequel trilogy is its own universe, and The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett are essentially happening in another adjacent universe, using essentially Dave Filoni's get out of jail free card, The World Between Worlds. Because in The World Between Worlds, we've essentially seen multiple different ways that the multiverse can go in. because we know that Star Wars exists in a multiverse, and Disney's all about multiverses and making money from multiverses. But it's there, but they're afraid. And I don't know, I kind of know what the fear is, because the fear is if you decanonize the sequels, you're going to have people who actually like the sequels who are jumping up and down mad that they got rid of the sequels for what they see as peer pressure, because they're joining the Unimind and believing that the sequels are bad. The sequels are they're shoddy. I wouldn't say that they're bad, but narrative wise, the sequels are shoddy. If they decided to essentially give the entire universe to both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and go, okay, our experiment, the big screen experiment, it failed. We want to give you guys narrative control on the direction that Star Wars goes in. I really feel like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau should pull that trigger and go, well, we want to reboot everything. The Mandalorian is the beginning of the reboot post-Empire, and then we just want to go from there. Because now the question you have to ask yourself is, how do you reconcile characters like Thrawn coming back? Yeah, sure, it's about 20-25 years, but if there's a war between Thrawn and the New Republic, and the New Republic wins because we see that they're the dominant force in the sequels, well then what happens to Thrawn? Why was the New Republic prepared for Thrawn unprepared for the First Order? Why? Why suddenly demilitarize post Thrawn, and then when the First Order shows up, it's like, well, we'll just let them blow us up. You see what I'm going with this? Like, if you get into a situation where you say, well, Ahsoka's alive, then the question you have to ask is, well, then why didn't she show up to assist Rey against Palpatine, even though we heard her voice at the end of the Rise of Skywalker? That title is so bad. Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue, and it's really hard to remember. They're just, like, if Grogu's alive and he goes with the Mandalorian, and he chooses to be a Mandalorian / Jedi, well, then why didn't he show up to assist Rey? Why didn't any of the Mandalorians show up at the end battle to assist the Resistance in any way, shape, or form? Why weren't the Mandalorians a part of the Resistance, since they already saw how fucked up and cruel the Empire was? Star Wars has written itself into a creative corner because of the sequels, and I really feel like the best move that should be made is to just lop off the arm that the sequels is attached to and continue the story with the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett and all of the side shows that they're doing right now. Even their comic book series, Star Wars The High Republic, is fantastic. I don't know. Do you agree? Like, do you think that we should just simply abandon the sequels and let The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett be the beginning of new Star Wars going forward, where you can tell new exciting stories with Luke and with Grogu and with Din and with Boba and with Ahsoka and with Thrawn, and not be pigeonholed essentially into a corner because of the sequels? I think that's the best bet. I think the best bet is to just lop off the arm that the sequels is attached to, continue down the road, and see how great and grand Star Wars can be under Filoni and Favreau. But that's just me. If you have an opinion about it, comment down below, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.